subject of the biomechanics introduction of the black Lohan system is the three tantian as the reference point. So we have the upper tantian, which is actually right here. Second tantian is the mid tantian and the lower tantian. So there is a sang tantian, zhong tantian, and xia tantian. Okay. So what is the purpose of these three reference points? 3D reference height. So this will give you the exact location where the hand needs to be. So earlier we talked about the 5 lines. This will give you the width, okay, where the position of the elbow and the hand, as far as like the width line. Now, as far as the height, how do you know your tongue is supposed to be this low or that high? Okay, so this is what we call the 3 reference tantian. I'm going to use an example as what we call the Im Tiong Kun, or the yin punch, where the index knuckle must be in the center. The elbow is actually on the yin line for this example, and here's the gun, okay, with a proper triangle stance. To make you understand the purpose of the 3 reference height, I'm going to break it down into the 3-dimensional idea of occupying the space. So imagine there is a X, Y, and Z axis. So there is a width, the length, and the height. A typical martial system, when a punch coming in, if I try to block this way, or I try to block this way, or I try to block this way, or I try to block this way, this is what we call a one-dimensional vector. Okay? So when your vector actually have one-dimensional, this is what we define as blocking. Now, let's talk about 2-dimensional vector, which is, we're talking about the width and we're talking about the length. Okay? So in this case, I'm sure many of you have heard the idea of cutting through the center line and charge forward with that. So when I cut it through the center line, that means my movement is also coming slightly from the outside and cutting straight to the center line. Okay? So there is an x-axis and there is a y-axis, would be like this. So this is what we call cutting through the center line. So this is 2-dimensional. The only problem with that is that if the opponent is actually strong on this side, and you try to break the structure from the x and the y, no matter how strong your structure is, if the opponent is much bigger and larger, and happen to have a good structure, you cannot fight the structure using your structure. That's going to be the same thing force can force. So in this case, how many times have you tried, if you try to cut the center line, because the opponent is too strong, sometimes it bounces back. So as you try to press this, and this is too strong, it bounces back to you. Because what you have is the 2-dimensional. This is what we call occupying the space. In the Hegepun, when you have the 3rd factor of the dimensional, this will give you the width, the length, and the height. So it's going to become a 3-dimensional. So as I put the index knuckle on the center, but on the upper reference point, which is over here, and the elbow is actually on the yin line, okay? This is not just about occupying. This will become the space. So as you punch, this whole space, 3-dimensionally, will become yours, will become mine, as I'm using my movement. And of course, everything that we do within the Hegepun with Chun is never a straight line. Okay? Every straight line that we have, everything that appears to be a straight line is actually a circle.